Hey everybody, if anybody is checking in, I'm making some last minute notes. We're waiting for our 10:30 show to start. It is 10:30, just turned 10:30. It's actually probably about a half a minute late then. Alright guys, welcome to another episode of Legally Armed Live. We're trying to make our way around the Temple of Boom to do a few things and give you guys some different views. I know we've kind of had this view before, but we're going to try it again. Ton of things we're going to talk about tonight. I've got a bunch of things planned. I'm actually over here looking. Remember, I'm monitoring all of this as far as the feed right here. I have a monitor right here. Did it finish? I just got the notification. Carlos, we just started. So you are not late, Carlos. You are actually on time. Chilling, waiting for the hurricane. This is Gilbert. Hey guys, see everybody checking in right now. No, everybody's on time. We just started. What's up? And I'm sorry, dude. I can't read everybody's names. Again, you gotta understand. I'm still dealing with my mono glasses right now. Hello from St. Louis. Be safe down there. Hey, St. Louis. Glad you could join us, man. Everybody checking in, really cool. I'm glad everybody keeps meeting us out here on a Friday night. Reg, what's up, Reg? Grab you a cold if you want to hang out with us. We are going to try to talk about guns a little bit. We've got a bunch of stuff to talk about. We're going to try to keep this as gun, let me raise my chair up a little bit here, as gun related as we can. I had it loaded down so I could, when I edit video, I like to be screen level with my my monitor here. This is where I edit a lot of my video. Anyway, we want to keep it kind of gun related, but it's not going to be perfectly all gun stuff because we've got Hurricane Harvey out there. I mean, we're right here. I want to show you guys something real quick. For those of you that aren't from the area where I'm at, Southwest Louisiana, let's see here. This is our map right here of the hurricane as it goes right now. Let me show you this. Obviously, this is Corpus Christi area right now. This is us right here. So you see these bands right here coming in right off the Gulf and they're hitting us. So this thing is expected. We don't know. It's a rain event, obviously. But it's expected to go up this way, come back a little bit, possibly go out into the Gulf again, and then come back up over Lake Charles, somewhere back in this area. So we're supposed to have, I mean, it's Friday, guys. We're supposed to have rain through next Thursday. I mean, if that happens, they're talking about 20, 30 inches of rain. So anyway, I'm not trying to dampen anybody's hurricane party or whatever, but it is what it is, man. I mean, we got some weather out there. So thanks, guys, for hanging out with us. Let's try to get into some of the stuff, the gun-related stuff, real quick. I'm going to take you guys' comments and answers, or questions, answer your questions, as quickly and as best I can. Remember that I can't see very well. On top of that, the font is relatively small on here, so I'm going to do my best to try to catch you guys. I wish that I could send you some rain. I wish I could send you all the rain that we've got over here. It's Andrew, I believe I saw it. What are we worried about? I live in Houston. You live in Houston, David. I'm sorry to hear that, dude. You know, we can take the rain down here. I'm ready to hear about the new Glock Gen 5. Well, we don't have the Glock Gen 5 here, so let me just tell you that. Yeah, we don't. Houston is just, my wife's an engineer, and she'll be the first one to tell you that an area like Houston, everything is concreted. They just concreted everything. So there's no natural drainage. Everything is funneled here, there, wherever. And you've got the issue of flooding because there's no, well, I say there's none. There's not much ground for the rain to seep into. Everything is man-made. And there's not much seepage, you know, when you've got these swaths of concrete out there. It's a concrete area, the whole thing is. So that's why you have such an issue of flooding in Houston. And they're talking about the possibility of Houston getting flooded hurricane backing off and kind of swinging around a little bit and coming back again and flooding Houston again a second time. I didn't read the last comment. Again, I missed a lot of y'all's comments, and I really do apologize for that because I'm not fast enough to catch them on here. But anyway, this is where I monitor the live show and what all is going on. I'm doing this all myself. It's easier myself to do it that way because it's kind of a little bit more personal, I guess. At some point, I hope to get somebody else in here where we can have somebody monitor the room itself, where if I'm blabbing on about something else, I don't have to always manage it, and somebody else can give me those questions and answers. First thing I want to mention, if you are in the South, hello from Catula, that's Ellen. Hey, I guess that's what it is. Again, my eyes are bad, y'all. If I mess your names up, I do apologize. We have a gun show in Lake Charles, Louisiana tomorrow at the Lake Charles Civic Center. You get a chance, check it out. Tons of tables there. What else you got to do in all this rain? I mean, honestly, there's not much else to do. So if you're anywhere near, I don't know, hey, if you're trying to get out of that Texas area over there where all the rain is, come over here. You know, we got tons of hotels. We got all the casinos over here, so there's just a boatload of hotels. Sorry to hear that, Paula. Flooded your range. Yeah, we've been getting our share of rain over here. I think in the last 25 days we've had 18 days of rain. Go figure. It's never that bad here. Anyway, we'll get to some of these questions in a minute. I'm going to write down these things in a second. So hopefully the gun show, if you guys are in the Southwest Louisiana, Southeast Texas area, go check out the gun show at the Lake Charles Civic Center. P250. One of the things somebody had talked about a while back was a P250, which is the same exact frame and slide of the P320 that Glock. Whoa, what a Freudian slip. That Sig Sauer has been having with their, their famous pistol here lately. And somebody had asked in our last video if we would actually do the hammer hit on the back side of the P250 and asking if it had the same effect. And I just wanted to kind of show again, remember we're not loaded here, I wanted to show again how this thing can't fire, misfire, or accidentally fire, I should say, because it has a trigger. As I pull the trigger, this double action is pulling, when I pull the trigger, it sends the hammer backwards, and then at some point it's going to break and then drive forward. So doing the hammer test on this is not going to be quite as effective, and it's not going to work like the P320, simply because if you can see that hammer, it's actually hidden in there. It's guarded, if you will, by these two pieces of slide on each side of it. So by striking the hammer, it's not going to send it forward and make it hit the firing pin. So I wanted to address that real quick because I had a bunch of questions online about the 250, people asking about it. Personally, I feel like the 250, the only thing it's worth, and it's kind of beat up and it's got fuzz on it, and I'm going to tell you why. The only thing it's worth is the truck gun. I keep this thing in my truck. It's beat up, scuffed up. The trigger is so bad that it's not something I would carry, but I feel like in a high-stress situation, if I had one and it was in my truck and I go to grab for it and I have one in the chamber, then I'm not going to have much of an issue because I have a long, steady trigger before that thing is going to break to send that firing pin forward. So it's a good truck gun, not a good carry gun. I would not carry this thing. Now, people with opposing opinions will tell you that a long, drawn-out trigger is just as good for a carry gun because it's the same thing. High-stress situation, all that good stuff. Personally, I think that I want a little bit more predictable trigger, if that makes any sense. I want a trigger that I'm more comfortable with, that has a little bit more predictability to it. I don't feel like the P250 has a good predictable trigger to it. I want a trigger that I know when I'm about to break. This one here is a little bit of a guessing game. Maybe I don't have enough trigger time with it, but nevertheless, it's not as consistent enough for me. Not one I carry. Never carried. Never will carry. Let's see here. A couple things I want to talk about real quick. As you notice, I have the General Lee right here, the Duke boys, their car. This is kind of an homage, if you will, to the General Lee statues that are getting torn down all over the country. I'm not trying to make this a political show, but I think it's really stupid that people are tearing down statues that far. Some of these statues have been up for 100 years. they've never bothered anybody. They've never bothered anyone for the last 8 years, and now all of a sudden, 8 months into Donald Trump's presidency, somehow or another the statues and everything like this bothers them. And I just have an issue with that. It's clearly political. It's only political, and I'm going to tell you why. Because if it weren't political, these same people that are whining and crying about this, well, they're not talking about the General Lee, they're talking about Robert E. Lee, the General. The same people that are whining about these statues needing to come down have said nothing about a true, documented, modern-day racist Robert Byrd. Now, Robert Byrd lived and breathed as a Democrat. He was a Grand Dragon, Grand Poobah, whatever you call the guys in the Klan that are way high up there. He was one of them. And this guy, Hillary was, all up his backside and all that good stuff, really exalted him as being this wonderful person and all that. And this guy, it's not like this isn't a rumor that he was in the Klan. He was in the Klan. And no one has asked that any of these statues of him be brought down. No one has. No one has asked that his name be scrubbed from any records or anything like that. Nobody has. When they finally come forward, and I'm talking about the liberals and the Democrats, when they finally come forward and demand that his statue comes down, then I will take them serious as far as all these other statues. It's strictly political. When you can pick what statues you want to come down based on what political party you feel like they may have been affiliated with, which is crazy because all these statues that they want to take down, they're all Democrats. Every one of them, not some, all are Democrats. So, again, not trying to make this a political show, and I apologize if you guys think that I am, but I had this, I actually got this General Lee, I don't know, a few years ago whenever something was going on during the Obama administration, and I think they pulled the Dukes of Hazzard off of TV because the flag on top of the General Lee was offending so many people. And I said, you know what, now's my chance. If I don't get it now, I'm never going to get one of these. So I bought this replica of the General Lee, so that's why I have it. Also, I've got right here, I've got George Washington. He's being threatened right now too. I mean, this guy right here, they're wanting to tear down him and everything else. I guess they're going to burn all their $1 bills because this guy owned a slave. Again, I'm not going to get into the political side of it, but it's like saying, I'm not even going to minimize it because it'll get me in trouble. But he owned slaves because that was the way it was back then. That was the rule. That's how it was. He didn't make that up. He didn't decide that he wanted to buy slaves and own slaves. He did because everybody else did. Everybody else did. Not some, everybody did. If you could afford them, you own them. Not to mention the fact that they were sold by Africa also. So anyway, I want to get into the Sig P250. This is a gun right here that, with all the garbage coming on, I've got some pretty cool stuff coming up soon also I want to tell you guys about in relation to this gun. This is a hammer-fired gun, obviously. Really cool looking hammer, actually. CZ did a really good job on that hammer on that one. But they really did a good job on everything else on this gun. If you notice all the markings on here, believe it or not, kind of wondering if Sig didn't borrow some of the design here, because it's got that forward cant a little bit on the slide that that Sig kind of has. But this is a really good trigger for this type of gun. I'm going to tell you guys, it's a double action, single action. It's got a really crisp break to it. We're going to be running a review on this very, very soon. I got to tell you, I sent you an email, never got a reply. Somebody asked me if I'm an FFL. I am not an FFL. I am not. People forgot slavery was the norm for thousands of years. Exactly, that's my point. This gun is a nice gun. The coolest thing about it is, if you notice, remember, CZ is really good about this. They put that bore as high as they can on that pistol, as high as they can. If you notice, there's not much slide to grab hold to right here. Just for comparison's sake, let me show you these two pistols. I'm going to try to line up. Let me line up the slide frame ratio right here. And look how much more pistol is above the line of the slide and the frame on the Sig, which is on your left. and the CZ is on your right. That's because CZ does a really good job of putting that bore as high as they can to mitigate, at least to try to, well, let me rephrase this. They're going to mitigate the recoil because they're getting your whole hand up high. They're getting the bore is actually coming down low, I should say. The line of it, of the slide and frame ratio, is actually what's high, but the bore is down low. The bore is coming down as low as it could possibly get, because what you want to do is get the bore and your hand as close together as you can so that you have less recoil. A gun like the P250, that bore sits a little bit higher, so you got more recoil that's coming back to you. When you this CZ P250 and most of the CZs, that bore sits lower in your hand, so it's closer to your palm, so you're taking it like this instead of like this. So it's easier to stay on target with that. And again, I apologize if I confuse anybody. You can even tell how they undercut the trigger guard right there. Not just the undercut, but the way it's designed. It has to be like that because they have that bore so low sitting down into the hand. This is a really cool pistol. It's a fun pistol to shoot because, again, you can stay on target. It's a 9mm. There is, they call it the Glock Killer. Who hasn't named their gun the Glock Killer? Seems like everybody does. They have a P10 that they have, and I think next week I'll have one. We'll probably talk about that on the live show next Saturday night or next Friday night, and I'll be able to show you guys then. Hopefully I have a review on that really soon also. But the P10 is a really cool gun, striker fired gun. So again, everybody claims their next gun is the next Glock Killer, but we'll see. I mean, the P10 is promising from everything I've read, everything I've seen. I've shot one in Vegas. I've seen them, I've handled them. They seem like a good gun. They seem like they might be the next big thing. So we'll see. Keep an eye on that. The CZ P10. Again, this is the P250, and I hope to be doing a review on the P250 very, very soon also. So keep an eye out for that as well. I'm trying to watch some of you guys' stuff over here. Hey, I want to mention something real quick, guys. You know that I'm grateful that you guys are hanging out with me on a Friday night. It's always cool that you're doing that. Let's keep it clean. You know, you guys are in the chat room here talking amongst yourselves. That's awesome. Keep it somewhat clean. I know there's been some yahoos that kind of pass through every now and then that want to be a little smart asses and say things in there that's not appropriate. No, that's not cool. You know, well, actually I'm working with Livestream right now. That's who provides this camera and everything we're working on, to be able to assign moderatorship to some people out there so that we can have them go in there, because I'm kind of sidetracked right now, obviously, and I want to be able to assign some people to where they can go in there and boot people, you know, get them out of here, because we don't need that. I mean, there's enough BS in the world. Look, there's so many other places to troll. This is not the place that you need to troll. I mean, there's just plenty of other places if that's your kind of thing. So anyway, hopefully we'll have that worked out very, very soon. Glock Gen 5. Okay, the Glock Gen 5. These guys have been, Glock has been leaking, but they've also been very ambiguous about what they're doing also. My point is, they leak pictures, and they swear that they don't want anybody to leak the pictures, but they really are leaking the pictures. Glock is actually responsible for leaking these pictures. Tomorrow is a big range day event, range day release, if you will, for Sig. And wow, I just called Glock Sig for Glock. And they're going to be releasing the Gen 5 at ranges, 100 ranges across the country. I had to say, very sad to say, that there's none in Louisiana and Mississippi, because I checked to see what the closest ranges were in this area, and there's none in Louisiana or Mississippi. But there's 100 other ones all about, you know, everywhere right now. So tomorrow, if you guys, you know, check it out, you'd probably get on Glock's website and find all these participating ranges out there. But you'll be able to shoot the gun. And none of them are made for sale right now. The ones that are being allocated to the ranges are simply being allocated for the range purpose. It's a range program. If you're not aware, most ranges around the country lease, rent, buy guns to be used at a really, they get them at a very, very low price, and they lease them out, or rent them out, I should say, at their ranges to customers that come in off the street. Obviously, the intent there is there's a bonus by a company like Glock to sell a gun to a range at a lower price, and let somebody use it over and over and over again with the intent that they eventually will buy the same gun because they like it. So that's why they're rolling this out of the range program. Personally, I don't think it matters where you roll it out at. Glock has reintroduced, in my opinion, practically the same gun 4 different times. The Generation 1, which was the first one, then 2, 3, 4. Now they're doing it with the 5th generation. People are still going to buy it. So I'm going to buy one. So it's not like you have to shoot one in order to appreciate one, I guess. Because you can shoot a Gen 4, a Gen 3, or Gen 2. It's going to feel like a Gen 5. You know, it's going to shoot the same. It's still got the same angle. This exact same aiming angle is the same. That hasn't changed. That's the only thing they could possibly change that make it feel different. No finger grooves on the pistol this time. No finger grooves, some finger grooves, then no finger grooves again. So it changes back and forth. It's like they're going backwards now, going to an older gun. I will say this though, they do have a match barrel on there now. Instead of that wacky octagonal barrel that they've been putting on their pistols, that's going to change. I think that's good. That's really good. It's not going to retain near as much lead in it. Of course, you'll still have to clean it, but that octagonal barrel, there's some issues with it over time. If you don't clean your pistol, it accumulates lead in the little corners of it, and it can be dangerous if you don't clean it. It can create some issues for you a little bit later on. So you definitely are going to see some people happier with their, it's almost self-cleaning, and I know that sounds kind of stupid, but if you have a regular barrel and your bullet goes through it whenever you fire it, it is kind of self-cleaning, whereas that octagonal barrel gives places where carbon can deposit on the inside of that barrel right in here where the bullet's not sliding, but it's got a point right here, and that carbon can deposit up in there, and eventually it builds up over time, and it can cause some problems with your pistol. So Glock sounds like they may have fixed that. There's a few other little things that they've modified to it. I've heard that it has actual iron sights instead of, or metal sights instead of plastic sights. I don't know about that for sure, so I'm not saying that it does, but I've heard that it does. Still no serrations on the front, which I think is really stupid. I don't see the point in not having serrations on the front. It makes sense. If nothing else, make a Gen 5, do like iPhone, call it a Gen 5 Plus. You know, if you don't want serrations on the front, if you want to sell a whole lot more guns, all you got to do is change a little something and people are going to buy it. So Glock not putting serrations on the front makes no sense to me. Now, maybe they have a deal with an aftermarket company to where that aftermarket company is going to make those with the front serrations on it. Okay, whatever. But to me, that's something that Glock should do. Put the front serrations on it. Makes a difference. People like sometimes to charge it from the front. I do if I'm shooting competition or something like that. I have a really light recoil spring on it. It's just, I like it. I prefer that from the front side of it. Flared mag well, they did do that. Now a lot of these improvements that they're doing here, flared mag well, the barrel, a bunch of these things that you're going to see the improvements on this Glock Gen 5, they're being done because this is a pistol that was designed initially for the FBI. And the FBI, they're buying, I forget how many, I want to say 33,000. That may be a stupid number, but they're buying a ton of these pistols from Glock. And, you know, Glock being a business, why not? Hey, let's make this same gun available to the general public. So that's what they're doing. Ought to be interesting. Again, worst case scenario, we'll have one within 30 days. Best case scenario, I bet you within a week we have one. If these guns are making their way on the ranges this week, they're going to be available to the general public by next week. That's just my gut on this. So keep an eye out for that. As soon as we have one, we will definitely get it out and show you guys, and we'll do it here on this live show, and we'll do somewhat of an unboxing. Let's see. A video that I put out today. It came out a little bit earlier. It's not on our website yet, but it is on our YouTube page. This Stoker double defense is a pretty cool shotgun. It's pretty cool. This thing, it's only a 2-shot double barrel, and I like the jeweling that it has right here near the hinged area. Very, very cool. I don't know if you can see that jeweling on there. Yeah, there you go. You can see it right there. It's loosening up the gun is, by the way. Anybody that's watched our video probably noticed that I had a little trouble with it. I didn't oil it a ton. I oiled it enough to where it would, you know, obviously move. Probably could use a little bit more oil or some grease or something like that, but it is moving a whole lot smoother than what it did. I encourage you guys to check out our video. It's out there right now. Let's see, again, the Stoker Double Defense 12 gauge shotgun. They also make it in 20 gauge. Very cool shotgun, very cool. I like it a lot, actually. But like anything else, anytime you're shooting something that is not a semi-automatic, it's going to hit you right there, if you know what I mean. Let's see. What else are we going to talk? Oh, I wanted to see real quick, if we could, if the hurricane has changed any real quick, if you guys don't mind. We are getting our share of rain out there. A gallon gun is too heavy, better suited on wheels in your backyard. Get an Uzi. Yeah, good point. Yeah, we're getting a little bit of rain. You see we've got a dead spot right here where we've got not much rain, but we've got this band right here that's about to come. We've been lucky so far, guys. We've been real lucky. I'm going to grab a sip of my beer if you guys don't mind. If you have one, drink it. Let's see. I do want to show you guys this. Guys, if you don't know, the Canik CZ clones, I don't know about the Canik CZ clones. I know that I have a Canik that we have done a minor review on. The Canik is not, it's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, for the quality, you have to understand you're paying between $300 and $400 for a gun. I was blown away when I opened up the Canik TP9 box. I don't want to mess this up and say the wrong things, but that Canik TP9 box had at least 2 magazines in it, the little mag feeder. What are your opinions of morbidly obese men and their guns? This must be somebody, this might be our troll. The TP9 is an extremely reliable gun. Comes with its own holster. Wilson Combat is doing Glock part accessories now. That's exactly right, Paula. I don't know if you guys have seen it. If you ever get a chance, Google Wilson Combat Glock. You will be blown away. I don't know. You know what? We can Google that right now. Let's see here. There's Google, and let's do Wilson. Oops, gotta learn how to spell it. Wilson Combat Glock. Wait till you see this. Here we go. Here we go, right here. That's the picture I saw right here. And you tell me that that is not a good-looking gun right there. I wish I could blow this thing up a little more. Let me see if I can blow it up. Let's see. View image right here. Now I'm still not going to be able to view. Oops. Here we go. All right, check that out. Now you tell me, whoever spent all this time stippling this frame on this thing, remember that same little sunburst design that you see on those grips right there, that is done with like a G10 type grip on a 1911. So this is a CNC machine doing that. Maybe CNC does this, I don't know, but it looks like stippling to me. Somebody had to spend an awful lot of time stippling that. But to me, that's a decent looking pistol right there. Notice it's got front serrations on it also. Duh, Glock front serrations, people want it. Looks better, works better, they're functional. If you notice, they've got, looks like some Heine sights on there. I'm sure the front sight post is probably a night sight. Let's see here. You know the trigger's upgraded. You know it's upgraded. Some texturing right here. Actually, it has the Wilson Combat logo on it right here, but along with some texturing, some stippling of sort. Front, you know, finger grooves. That's a Gen 4 right there. So I mean, pretty cool looking gun. I mean, looks good. I mean, if Wilson Combat is going to get into the business of remaking some of these polymer guns out there, this is a good start. And it looks good. I mean, I wouldn't mind one of these. To me, you see so many of these pistols out there that people are doing all the things, the stippling and whatnot, but they're not doing, it's kind of a sloppy job. It looks too hand done. This doesn't look hand done. If this is hand done, if somebody hand stippled this into the frame, I'm gonna be blown away because it looks great. Now, it's not grips, I can tell you that much, but it does look a little wider because it looks like it has a curve right there. You know, the Glock grips are not, I don't have a Glock, well, gotta do it right here. Glock grips are not rounded. See how they're flat? They're not rounded at all. This one has an arch to it. It's rounded this way. So my guess is they must have taken some of the material off, like right in here and right in there, in order to make that thing round somehow. I don't know how they did it. Again, however they figured this out, I have no idea, unless they rebuilt a different frame. It's possible they did a different frame, but the frame is serialized also, just like the you know, the different parts of the the slide and the barrel. So I don't think Wilson Combat could have made that, and I know Glock didn't make it specific for Wilson Combat, so I'm not sure how they got this arch right there. Looks like a real picture. Doesn't look like it's computer generated. I guess it's possible that it is. But anyway, that thing looks like it's arched a little bit right there, and that's interesting to me. Now, it's possible that they only arched it to the back, like they might have just cut the back down a little bit. But it looks kind of fat, so I don't think they cut it down. It almost looks like they added material, which I know they didn't add material. I'm just telling you, it's what it looks like. So it should be very, very interesting whenever anybody puts their hands on one of those. I'd love to hear about it because it looks like a good-looking gun. It looks like they distressed some of the slide too. Some of these marks right here look like they're distressed somewhat. So anyway, all right, tell you what, we have 25 minutes left. We have been on here for about 35 minutes now. I would like to devote my attention, if best I can, to the monitor here and answer questions, talk about topics that you guys want to talk about, because I appreciate and enjoy the interactivity that you guys bring to the table. So, you know, shoot, throw something at me. I'm going to drink a cold beer right now, and hopefully you guys can do the same too. How about that new Oregon bill for gun confiscation? You know what? You just ruined my beer right there. The Oregon bill, they're talking about mentally unstable, because yes, if you are mentally unstable, maybe you shouldn't have a gun, but whose choice is that to make? There's no due process. There's no due process in an Oregon bill. That's the thing that scares me. And I say scares me, not from a fear standpoint, it scares me from a constitutional standpoint. The fact that they can put a bill out there and pass a bill and drive a bill down people's throats that takes due process away. What I mean by that is, let's say my neighbor, let's say my brother-in-law, let's say somebody decides that because I have a few guns that I must not be right in the head. Now, it could be a person who knits for a living or knits for their hobby, somebody who bathes dogs for a hobby, someone who makes kites for a hobby, somebody who has a hobby that is totally different than what mine is. But they think I'm unstable because I have guns. They can report me, and if they report me, and I don't know the details of the Oregon bill, but someone, the state, I don't know who it is, determines that I'm unfit to own guns, with no due process, I might add. I hate to keep repeating that, but what that means is I've never been talked to about this. They can just come take all my guns. They don't call me in and say, hey, we want to talk to you and see, which that's not right either. Nobody has the right to bring me in to question me to see if I'm mentally capable of owning firearms. But that's what this Oregon bill does. It disallows you any kind of recourse if you want to, quote, defend yourself. Now, obviously, I'm sure there's an appeal process, obviously. But so you're going to come take all my guns away from me, and then I have to prove myself innocent? I have to prove that I'm not mentally incapable of owning firearms? That's very unconstitutional. I have a buddy over there, Angelo. I know you're not watching. He works for FLIR. Dude, y'all got to vote these people out, man. Y'all got to vote these people out. I understand where you're at, Oregon, Washington, California, all those goofballs over there. And if you're over there now, I apologize if you're watching, because if you're watching, you're clearly not a complete and total goofball in that area. But you know what I mean. You're overwhelmed with those kind of people over there. And those are the people that are ruining it for you. All it's going to take is a state that passed some kind of stupid law like that, like Colorado has done on their stupid magazine bans, magazine capacity bans. California is doing all this crazy, whacked out stuff. You guys have to stand up and do something. If nothing else, educate people. A lot of times, look, the average voter, and I say the average voter, I would guess, and I mean this, probably 30% of voters are stupid. They're just stupid. They don't know how to vote. They can't think for themselves. They don't understand bills. They don't understand the wording in bills. They don't understand how bills are written. So they're listening to their neighbors, their coworkers, their friends, their family. They're listening to people to help guide them in how they vote. I mean, it really is that simple. We take it for granted that we have just a tad bit more intelligence to where we can read these bills and determine what they really say. But our friends and our family members, and a lot of them out there, are just stupid. They just are. I mean, I've got family members that are stupid. And I've had to tell them, no, you know, what you're telling me is not right. You saw it on TV. You know, you read it on a billboard. You saw it on a bumper sticker. That doesn't make it factual because you read it or some idiot, some clown on TV saw it. Look, the news is not the news anymore. The news is more entertainment. They're entertaining us with information. But it's not news anymore. So just because you see it on the news doesn't mean that it's gospel and it's the truth. So yeah, what we have to do is we've got to talk to people, you know, at the bus stop, at the local store when you're gassing up, the grocery store, the bank. You know, make these topics about firearms and guns, the things that are truly unconstitutional, make them a hot topic. Make them something that you want to talk about out in the open and educate people on it. When they give you some pushback, you're probably smart enough to know that that pushback it's not right. It's inaccurate. They're giving you bad data. You need to correct these people. As a first-generation Mexican-American, my family are all brainwashed by Univision. Boy, that's a brainwashing source right there, isn't it? Univision, I mean, there you go. That's a perfect example right there. You know, Univision has taken all these popular things, anti-Trump and whatever else, and just they're pushing to the forefront. And I mean, I work in the construction field. I talk to some of these Mexican Americans that I know are very intelligent people, but they don't do anything to try to educate themselves. You know, one of my Mexican friends he's a big gun guy. He and I have gone shooting together. His thing is, he thinks Trump is a racist, but he doesn't know why. He's just been told that. I don't know if Trump is a racist, but I've never heard him say anything that is. But this guy doesn't know if he is, hasn't heard him say anything, but he's had people tell him that he is. That's what I'm talking about with these gun bills and all that. You know, these people are not doing any of their own due diligence at all, none of their own research. It's simply they sit down, they may go to work, sit next to somebody, or they may go sit down at lunch with somebody and they'll overhear a conversation and they're like, that's what I thought. You know, now all of a sudden they're totally sold and they're bought into that concept. We as gun owners, as proud, responsible gun owners, have got to work on these people. We've got to do that. And I'm sorry I kind of went a little bit long on that one, but if anybody else has any questions, I'm going to try to pay more attention to the monitor here. and answer your questions, or let's bring a subject up that we can talk about. Again, I'm really proud of my General Lee car over here. I love that thing. That's pretty cool. All right, guys. I'm actually excited. Tomorrow, the gun show that we talked about, I am going to pick up a HK VP9 SK over there. That's got my name on it. Oh, another thing that's coming up next weekend. Not to drive anybody away from the gun show, and this may do that. If it does, I apologize. But next weekend, which is it's Labor Day weekend. That is actually going to be, I'm trying to give you the dates. I'm going to look the dates up real quick. That is going to be September 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. I don't know about the 3rd, it's Sunday, but I know September 1st and 2nd, which is Friday and Saturday, are, and here it goes, Second Amendment tax-free weekend. Now, I don't know who all is taking part in this. I know, and I don't want to get this wrong, so I apologize. I know one of my friends from Action Arms and Sulphur is going to be on here. The state is not taking part wholly in the tax-free process. What I mean by that is, they're only allowing, I want to say this, it's probably going to be maybe 2 and 3%. Our tax in this particular area, between our local taxes and our state taxes, our sales taxes are 10.75% in this part of Louisiana, if you guys aren't from here. Well, the state is only relieving us of 2 or 3% of that tax. So you're still going to have around 8% tax, 7 to 8%. So the problem with that is, it's not that big of a deal as far as a savings that you have. Well, typically and historically, Gator Guns and Sulphur has assumed the rest of that tax burden to still make it a full tax-free weekend for us. So even though they don't have to, Gator Guns has said, you know what, even though you're only going to get 2 or 3%, we're going to give you the full 10.75%. Now, I assume they are, it's because they've always done that in the past. This year, I'm not sure if they are, so I'm not speaking for them. Go back and look at this video. For some reason, if you're going to go over there and tell them, hey, Paul said this. I'm not saying that's the way they're doing it this year in 2017. I'm saying that's how they always have done it. They've always assumed that tax burden on themselves and just incorporated that into their own, I guess you would say, loss. It comes out of their profit for selling the pistol or the rifle or whatever gun to you. And they just assume that tax burden on their own. So hopefully they're doing that again this time, because I've got several guns put aside for next weekend, the tax-free weekend, and I'm excited about it. You'll definitely see the guns, so I'll have them out here maybe Friday. I may go pick them up during the day on Friday, so I can have them here for the live stream on next Friday night. So look forward to that. Got some cool stuff. I think you guys are going to be excited about it. Well, I'll tell you what some of them are. One of them is a Glock. It's the Glock with the American flag painted picture on it. I can't think of what else. Gosh, I can't think of what other gun. I've got about 4 or 5 guns over there. So, Jared, I just saw your. Jared is from Action Arms in Sulphur, Louisiana. Friend of mine, he's been working there for a long time. Jared, I'm not sure if you guys are doing it too. If you are, let me know. I'd be happy to, give you guys a shout out as well. I didn't want to say that you guys might be doing it because I don't know, what your policy is on that. But our governor's only giving us that 2 to 3%, and it's not much. I mean, when you're paying 10.75%, that's not exactly a whole lot. So hopefully, you guys can pick you up a good deal. What's cool about it is it's that time of year when people are going into hunting season. It applies to ammo, the guns, accessories, all of that. So, I mean, if you're looking for a scope, some optics, obviously ammo, obviously a gun. I'm good on ammo. We've got gun sponsors, ammo sponsors. So I'm good on ammo. Optics, though, I'm thinking about that. I may try an optic. P10C is a nice shooter. I actually have a P10, not the C, it's not the compact. I assume that the C is the compact. I have a P10 full size coming in next week, so I will be shooting that next week. Man, those guns are hard to come by. CZ P10C is tough, man. It's tough to come by right now. So I'll be carrying a full size CZ P10 for the next couple of weeks. That's another thing I like to do. Anytime I get a gun that is concealable, let's see, 415 is shit, man, 2.0 price versus an actual build. Yeah, I'm not gonna argue with you there, buddy. Anytime I get a gun that's concealable, I can still carry it, because if I'm gonna do a review on it, I want to try and be at least as fair as I can in my assessment about if it's a carryable gun, if it's something that I feel like is something that you would want to carry. I'm not going to be able to sit here and tell you. I don't get paid by these people that we review these guns. Some of them we do a little bit of work for, but it's outside of our videos. You know, anytime we do work for a gun manufacturer, we draw a pretty distinct line. They don't pay to be in our videos unless they are an open sponsor, like our ammo sponsors. I will tell you that Armscore, I'm sure I have a box around here somewhere. Armscore is an ammo sponsor for us. They provide all of our ammo. They give us all of our ammo. So I'll tell you that, because I want you to know that. But as far as the guns, you know, no one is giving us these guns to say not nice things about. So with that being said, you know, I try my best to use the guns in daily capacity the best I can, so I can be fair about disseminating that information to you. Wish I could find a good deal on stippling up here in North Texas. You know, I showed about $300. $300 for stippling? Dude, that's, I mean, in some cases, that's over half the price of the gun that you have. You're bringing them a Glock. My God. City and she's from, I have met him. Taxes kill us down there. Yeah, I don't know if you guys, if you're from other areas, if you have tax-free weekends. I mean, tax-free weekends are cool. I usually, like if I'm looking for a gun or something like that, I'll start in about June, because usually the tax-free weekend is the end of August. I'll start in about June or July. And I won't, well, I'll try not to. I won't say I won't. I'll try not to buy anything, and just I'll stockpile that at the gun store that I deal with, so that I can get all of that, you know, that tax break, if you will. I usually try to make sure I'm stockpiling about $2,000 or $3,000 worth of guns, so I can really make it worth my while. Actually, a couple of years ago, I think I had, it was like $4,000 worth of guns, so I was going to save over $400, and I ended up buying another, it's a way of justifying things in your mind. I ended up buying a 22 AR-15 for my son, and I was like, yeah, it's like I got the gun for free, you know, because with the taxes that I would have paid, I still spent the money, but I had an extra gun that went with me. So again, look, man, we're all in the gun business, we're all in the gun world. Anything we can do to talk ourselves into justifying why it's the right decision to buy another gun, we do it, right? So, I mean, that's the way it is. Sacramento stippling, $100 any gun. That's awesome. That's pretty darn good, if they're good at it. I got a heavy barrel core scale, blah, blah, blah. I see you guys are talking about stuff, so I apologize for interrupting into your conversations. Hey, we're talking about sponsors here. I want you guys to see. This is Battle Juice Energy Drink. Definitely want you guys to give them a shot. BattleJuiceEnergy.com. That is a energy drink, and good energy drink. These guys are good to us. I'll give you a little hint. It's actually our company, so we produce our own energy drink, and we have a sugar-free and a sugar. Tastes just like Red Bull, if you ask me. I'm not a huge energy drink drinker, but that's what they taste like to me. So just wanted you guys to know that. Yeah, man, we got about 10 minutes left. Let's open the floor up. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. If you got a cold one, drink it, because I'm going to. Han, you're really good at it. What are you good at, Han? Hopefully it's stippling, right? See, I don't have the brave bones in my body to stipple my own pistols. If I had a big giant piece of plastic to practice on, I'd probably do it. But Bud Light here, yeah, down it, man. Yeah, if I had a big giant piece of plastic to practice on with a soldering iron or whatever, I'd probably try it. But definitely feel like I've seen some people do the stippling that's just beautiful, and I'm like, how in the world do they do that? I can't imagine that they're using the same type of soldering iron that I've seen other people use and butcher their own guns with, because it doesn't make sense to me how they can make those same consistent little designs like scales. You've seen some that have scales all the way down it. My STI DVC Pro, it's got like scaling all the way down it. It looks like there's something that was hot and pressed on there. Lone Star here. Hey, Lone Star. So I don't understand it. I don't understand how some people can do it so good. I guess it's just a steady hand, like a painter, somebody who paints. You know, my hand is made just like theirs, and I can grab a brush just like they can, but I can't do the things they can do. So I'm assuming stippling is basically the same way. 25 tips. Okay, well there you go. See, I don't know enough about stippling to know. I just assumed it was a freaking soldering iron. 25 tips. I assume you were talking about 25 tips to do stippling. That makes a little more sense. Again, I think I would jack it up. I'm way too impatient. See, I'm the kind of person that if you gave me the heat, the iron or whatever, and the tips to go in there and stipple my gun, I would want to have it done in 10 minutes. You know, I wouldn't want to be the one going in there and taking my time and taking 3 days to stipple this thing. I'd want to have it done, you know, hey, I got to eat in 30 minutes, or I'm going to get a hamburger. Let me stipple this gun real quick. That's how I would be. Again, not knowing the process, do you get it down? Those of you that stipple, do you get it down to a flat surface? What's up, painter? You're a painter, huh? Sweet. Do you get it down to a flat surface and then start stippling? Because, I mean, you've already got a pattern on here. You've got the words down here on the actual thing also. Dairyborn. James, you must be from the Lake Charles area, I assume. Dairyborn's over here in this area. Stinks to high heaven. I don't know what you guys are talking about in there. By the way, my guns are not loaded. No gun in a Temple of Boom in here is loaded. I tell you what I wanted to do. I wanted to take you guys, I can take this camera outside. I wanted to take it outside to show you the, quote, hurricane. But I don't think we have anything going on over here. I have nothing to show you. I mean, I didn't know if we'd have some winds and some rain. No. We're right here. We got nothing right now. And we have a band right here that'll be coming through in a little while, but we don't have anything right now. I should get my mother to stipple my Glock, professional aircraft painter. Your mother's a professional aircraft painter? Dude, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool. My mom wasn't. Anyway, yeah, I was going to try to take this out tonight, show you guys. Hey, one thing we're thinking about doing coming up soon is getting some of our, like taking this camera out and just going right around. Don't do weird stuff with the camera with us. Either go to the gun range or do whatever. And kind of like we're taking you guys along with us to the range. Not like you guys can't go, but I think it would be kind of cool to kind of show that side of it. You see a lot of our videos and things like that where we're going out doing this kind of, quote, professional looking production, but to see the backside of it where it's ugly, see me screw up, see me not be able to talk straight, all that kind of stuff. Hurricane Rita, oh my God, yeah, don't bring Hurricane Rita up. Hurricane Rita was horrible. This house that I'm in right now, I had just built this house. I had just built this house 11 months earlier and moved in it when Hurricane Rita hit. Airborne or Cotton's downtown. Best burgers back home, hands down. Well, James, you definitely know Lake Charles because Dairyborn and Cotton's definitely do have some of the best burgers, no doubt. Yeah, Rita was, man, look, when I left my house, we evacuated. That's the only hurricane I've ever evacuated for. I think Hurricane Rita was a Hurricane 5 coming straight at us. And still, even though my house wasn't destroyed, I'm still kind of glad I left, because there's an old man who lives down the road that stayed. He had a special needs son, and he stayed. And he said the sound of the pine trees, tornadoes, we had ungodly amounts of tornadoes. They say that's the thing in a hurricane. It's not the sustained winds blowing constantly. It's the tornadoes that it whips up. There were hundreds of tornadoes that popped up. And they say that this old man told me that the sound of the tornadoes coming through and then tearing the tops of those pine trees off and toppling those pine trees and knocking them down. He said they were in the bathroom, him and his wife and his son. And he said, you know, you could hear it, feel it, just the rumbling of the ground of those trees falling and hitting. I mean, you have to figure you've got a 100-foot tall pine tree. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit. 50 to 60-foot tall pine tree. Old pine tree, big, thick pine tree, getting blown over, boom, hitting the ground constantly, all night long. The hurricane sort of blowing through in the night and didn't finish getting out of here until early on Saturday morning. And he was like, man, he said, worst thing, it's a 70-something-year-old man, worst thing I've ever been through in my life. So yeah, Hurricane Rita it was something, man. We got a couple more minutes left, guys. I'll do my best again to try to look at the monitor and catch you guys. Again, I'm not very good at that, so I apologize again for not catching you. I'm trying to position all this where I can see all of your comments and questions on here. I'm just not real good at catching them. Hurricane Andrew. You were surfing in South Beach. Oh my God. That was that tore up Florida, buddy. I'm over here in Canton, Texas. Everything on the east part of Canton was destroyed by an F4 tornado this past spring. Wow. Really? That's the thing, the tornadoes. You know, the hurricanes, we can sit here and pull them up. We can see how far they, until they get to us, things like that. Tornadoes, man. I've never been around a tornado. I've been around people that have. Show and tell some guns. Man, I don't have anything else to really show and tell about. I will tell you this. Love to talk about this one. This is one of my favorite pistols. If you can see how beautiful that thing is. That is a case hardened steel Turnbull manufacturing 1911 with giraffe bone grips on it. And it's got its charcoal gray slide. Wow. Somebody said the old gun by the wine bottle. Way over there? The heck can you see that? This pistol right here, I had bought that from Doug Turnbull. And Doug Turnbull was kind enough, because I did a video for one of his other 1911s, which is on the wall over there. He sent me these were just regular brown, I think walnut grips, and Doug sent me those giraffe bone grips. Those are like $200 and $300 giraffe bone grips. So yeah, I'm really proud of that. That's one of my pistols that I'm most proud of. Honestly, man, I don't buy Save Queens. I don't buy pistols to just put up, but I don't think I've ever shot that one yet. I've shot one of my other Turnbulls. Pretty sure I haven't shot that one yet, mainly because I believe I'm doing a video on that one, and I haven't taken it out there yet. This is an old Colt right here. Like definitely, I thought it looked like it was sweating or something. No, it's not. This is an old Colt single action Army 357. This is my dad's old gun. It's a pretty cool gun. Very special to me. My dad actually was a deputy, and that was the gun he carried. He was the deputy. So glad to have that. I'm just proud of that one also. But this right here, this is a Henry 22, and it is actually, it's not, you can't hold, I'm looking at the picture you guys are looking at here, and it's not a very good shot of it. This is a military edition. It's got all 5 crests of the military, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard on it. The scroll work on this thing is ridiculously beautiful. This is actually a gift from my father-in-law. Father-in-law do a little bit of, he and I do some gun swapping when we find something really, really nice. And he knew that I liked this rifle here and he got it for me. So very, very cool. Very cool. I'm really proud of that. But guys, I think we're at the end of our time. Yep, it's 11:30. Not that I'm looking for an excuse to get off of here, but I know you guys are probably getting tired of talking, hearing me talk. I want to encourage you guys next week to check us out. Same time, 10:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm hoping that I have some of my guns with me that I get from the tax-free weekend. If you guys have any questions or any guns you'd like to talk about or any topic you want to talk about, anything like that, look, feel free to email me. Email me during the week. Email me leading up to next Friday night. My email is paul@LegallyArmedAmerica.com. Again, paul@LegallyArmedAmerica.com. Email me. I don't care when it is. Put it in the subject line, live stream. That's all you got to do. Put it in the subject line, live stream. Put that in there. That way, whenever I do a search by it, I can pull all that up. And I'd love to address you guys' concerns, questions. If I have a particular gun that you're curious about, I have a ton of them. I'd love to be able to talk about it. I'd like to get in some points, you know, at some point where we come over here to the workbench, we'll break a gun down. We'll talk about it. You know, if it's something that if I can keep from putting a spring in my forehead or something like that because I tear it down wrong, I'd love to tear them down over here. And we talk about them and, you know, break something down and really look at it in depth. I'm okay with that. I'm happy to do that. So hopefully we can do something like that. You guys, look, have a good weekend. Those of you that are in harm's way in Texas, y'all be safe. You know, I know it's a huge rain event. There's be some wind out there too, but it sounds like the rain is going to be the biggest issue. I hope you guys and your families are very, very safe. You know, we'll say some prayers for you all. Louisiana as well. Anybody that's in Louisiana that might be affected by this. You know, I don't want to see anybody get hurt. Hopefully everything's going to be okay with everybody. Hopefully everybody in Texas, even if they're not on here, you know, everything goes okay with them and it's just a bunch of rain that they can get out of this. So thanks again, everyone, for joining us. I always enjoy this. I enjoy the interaction. And thank you all for doing this and taking time out of your Friday evening to do this with us as well. So we will catch you next time, guys. Have a great weekend.